Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond, broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off. Gloves Off is always on point. On point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off. If you've ever wondered, if you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956-401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there.
Back at you in Gloves Off, I'm Professor Buitrón. Today we have former Webb County Commissioner Mike Montemayor, good friend. How we doing, Mike?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, good. How's everything?
It's going great.
Glad to see you out and safe.
Yeah, it's about time. It took a while, but I'm back.
Okay. Let's touch base. I want to ask one particular question.
Is it the question that everyone's asked?
No, not even. Why would you want to be a public official?
You know, for a long time, I had wanted to run for office because I saw things that I didn't agree with and how things were slowly progressing, and I felt that I had good input. I felt that I did. And so for a long time, I would ask different people, elected officials, if they would, support me in, certain things, and I didn't have the support. So I did a lot of PR for the veterans, and
You being a veteran yourself?
right, me being a veteran, I did a lot of PR for the South Texas, Afghanistan, Iraq Veterans Association, and different organizations, and so I started getting known by the public, and then plus in the real estate business too. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna run. And I had a couple of, and what a lot of people don't know is I had a couple of commissioners actually ask me to run. And they said, it'd be good. Like, you'd be good to run for office, and you can change things. And we've seen the way you speak in Commissioner's Court, and we think that you'd be okay for the county. And so I thought about it, and at the time I got with my family, which was my ex now, but and my kids and everything, and we all sat down, we talked about it, and we all agreed that I would run, and we did. And I wanted to go in there with different beliefs and something new. The way I saw it is, we were really having a hard time with it growing. There was a problem with it,
With what growing?
with the way the county was progressing. It was slow. It was a problem that I saw a big problem with it, where commissioners weren't going to work. They would have their jobs and forget the county.
We had that conversation
Mm-hmm.
a while back, and you passed by because you were a student of my dad, and we were a student of ours back when. So I was, the young lad that was in here smiling all the time and
Yeah.
looking around, is now passed by, and I had just moved back at the time, and you said, I'm going to run. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I want to fix this, and so it's that question's still the same that you told me back then. What gets me is what occurred, what changed that led to what happened.
What led to happen to my arrest, my incarceration, and I got tangled up in the corruption. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. It's not anything where I can sit here and say that I didn't do it. I pleaded guilty to a crime that I did commit, and I've admitted it, and I've accepted it. And it's very difficult to be an elected official, especially Webb County being the 6th largest county in the state of Texas. And it's very difficult to do that because you have so many people that you have to try to please. And when you don't please them, or you don't vote the way that everybody wants you to vote, but you vote just on your conscience, it comes back and it haunts you. And that's the thing, is that you get so much pressure from either side. You're never going to be right, you're never going to be wrong, But that's what a lot of people don't understand is being an elected official is really, really difficult, because you can't please everybody. But you try to do the best that you can do as an official and for your constituents. And, that's why I feel that if you're going to be an elected official and you're going to represent the city or the county, for instance, I'm not going to say the city because I was never elected into the city, but for the county, like in my case, I give 100%. I showed up to work early in the morning. I left late at night. I was hands-on. I was proactive. I was helping the guys from Road and Bridge, and they can vouch for me too, because there's pictures of me on the backhoe and stuff like that, and helping them out, and I'd go to different community centers, but I was involved, and that's what needed to be done.
Do you think that right now we don't have, or has it changed? Or have you paid attention from before you went in there? Because you said that the commissioners were not as involved, and you were involved because I witnessed that. But how do you think it has changed? What changed, you know? And that's basically what I want to see. What's in there that changed? What
Now,
now?
I haven't really seen much. I haven't really followed much of the county news. I can tell you that there's they're working it. They're trying it. I can see that they are progressing. You know, there's some good ideas that have been thrown out there. There's some ideas that I left behind. You know, that they're starting to mess with, which I think would help out Webb County. To build revenue. You know, and that's what needs to be done. As far as the county, I really don't see much. I see a lot of, you know, back and forth, and but they're trying and they're doing their hardest, and I respect them for that. The city, I can tell you that the city, I think, a lot of the officials from the city are doing a great job. Since the time that I was gone for the 4 years that I was incarcerated, and when I got back over here, so much has changed where we're like other big cities, you know. So we're
moving forward.
Right. We're keeping up with the Joneses, and that's exactly what we needed to do.
But, you know, also keeping up with the Joneses might lead us into bankruptcy, like it does many other people, trying to buy that house that they can't afford, and buy that car and the clothes and so on and so forth, because they want to keep up with the Joneses. And wait a minute, the Joneses come from money, and you have to bust your rear end to get the money. So that's a double-edged sword.
Right.
You know, that can lead us into trouble. Do you think now there's corruption as it was in? Explain the corruption, because I hear that word a lot. It's corrupt, he's corrupt, there's corruption. How does it happen?
Hey, look, I'm not even gonna beat around the bush on this one, because I said that when I got out, I was gonna focus more on stopping corruption, because I was a corrupt official, and so there's different forms of corruption. I mean, different forms. And people look at me since I've been out like, oh my God, like, that's the dude that got arrested, and that's the dude that did time, and that's the dude. But, you know, corruption could be anything. Corruption could be, hey, you know that judge, and you can take the ticket off, you know, but you got to help him with his campaign, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. Hey, you know, this commissioner over here, you know this. I mean, there could be money exchanged. I mean, which is your typical, you know, money exchange, and just your wink wink kind of deal, bribes disguised as donations. You know, I mean, there's different ways of corruption. I mean, there's a ton of different ways.
What's the most common that you see now, or that is seen? Is it the bribe and a donation?
Yeah. What a lot of people do, and I didn't know this, but I found this out the hard way, but a donation is pretty much a bribe. You know, it took me a while to realize it, but it kind of is, because
it depends, you know, because if you say, I'm going to donate, and you say, you know, here's a campaign, they come up and they say, hey, you know what, here's some money, I really do think that we should need this, and if I do have money and I give $1,000, for example, and the other person gives $100, a donation's a donation, and then you have a big company that comes in and says, you know what, we really need that, gives $10,000. When is it that it becomes a bribe? What amount of money? Or is it just because somebody says it's a bribe, or it doesn't confine with what the FBI or the legals, the prosecutions say, because they want to get a new pin and they want to brown nose their way up to the next level? What is a bribe?
A bribe is simple. It's a tit for tat. You give me, I give you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You give me a contribution, and I'm going to help you with what you need. Okay. When you do that in exchange, even saying, promising, is also corruption. So I could be here with you and promising you the world, and say, hey, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, I'm going to give you this, and you give me a contribution. Well, guess what? That's corruption.
Okay.
The laws are there's so many different bribery laws that it's not even funny. I mean, so many different things. I mean, if they want to get you, they're going to get you. The FBI, they're not playing around.
No,
I mean, they're here. It's real. A lot of people really couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that I had been, indicted for that. That was nothing I ever expected. Corruption is huge.
When I saw that in the paper, and I was like, I stepped back and I go, can't be. Something's going on. There's more to this story than just this. I've seen FBI when we were trying to build some property, building some property. They came in and talked to us if we had ever been told to pay some city. And I said, no, because we're investigating planning and zoning department in the city. So no, we're just about to sue the city because of issues that occur. And then later on, down the line, when everybody comes out on the newspaper about 2 years ago, when all the 14 or 10, 14 public officials were all placed up there with a Dynamom issue, and a lot of the names were placed in there when they raided, the names of those engineers and those officials that were directors back then that the FBI had come over and talked to us about were on there now. And I go, if you guys know about this, then why do you allow it to take off? To me, it was kind of like, you guys, if you should catch somebody that's wrong, catch them and do away with it. Don't allow it to continue unless you're using it to catch others that end up in this web because you guys have allowed this web to continue just because you guys want a new badge or a new name tag on your title. You know what I'm saying? On your door up in some office. To me, it was kind of redundant. So my question, what did you feel when the FBI came? What was it that you said, oh, okay, what's up?
When they interviewed me, I didn't know what to think. I've never been interviewed by any law enforcement agency like the FBI, and it's scary. I mean, it really is. I mean, when you have guys that are from the federal government and you're being interviewed, the first thing you can think is, I'm going to jail. That's it. Once you're being interviewed by them, you're done. I've said it time and time again. If the FBI interviews you, there's a 100% chance you will be indicted. And when you're indicted by the FBI, there's a 97% chance you're going to be found guilty. The conviction rate is 97%. So, trying to fight the government, you'll never win, ever. And I was so arrogant at the time too, saying that I was going to fight my case and I was going to do this and I was going to do that, not knowing that I can never win. And I wasn't going to win anyway because, I mean, I was guilty. I was guilty of doing it. I took the money and I did what I did.
Did you take the money because you knew it was a bribe, or did you take the money not understanding that it was a bribe?
I really thought that taking the money and depositing in the account, in the campaign account, was okay. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. What I didn't know is that you can't take cash, cannot take cash. It's something that I should have known because when you go into office, the Texas Ethics Commission sends you a book and stuff like that, and you're supposed to read it, and obviously I didn't, right? So, like I said, there's different things that, that happen, but I didn't know that. So I'm not using it as an excuse to say, oh, I didn't know, and I mean, I should have known.
Sure, because not knowing is not
right.
This is the law.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
so I can't say, I didn't know, and I'm innocent.
And we see that right now with everything that's coming in. Oh, illegals. Well, they're innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. Well, wait a minute. They knew they were crossing illegally. They're illegal.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're doing something wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
Plain and simple. But that's a different topic. But trying to take away from that because it's one that's in our face as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the FBI come in, do you think there'll be others that are going to be led by the hand and do some time?
I really do think so. I don't think the FBI is here to play games. I think they're pretty sharp. They're on their game. I think these guys and girls from the FBI are they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, who they're going after. You can't go into an office or offices, several offices, and raid them and not come out with anything, you know. Maverick County a long time ago had gotten busted for corruption, and I think they're still taking some people down, and this was a long time ago. And they wiped out 90% of the government at the time. They took the commissioners, they took the council, they took the school board, you know what I mean? And
Crystal City did the same thing.
Right. And so Webb County and Laredo, it's big. It's a big place. It's a big county. It's a big city, and it's a lot of money. You know, there's things that I will say this though. There's things that officials do not knowing that they're doing something wrong. They mean well, but there's things that they don't know. I mean, I'll really be honest with you. I think that being in office and trying to help people out, it's good. But then there's some times that you slip up without knowing that you did. You know, without knowing that you broke the law, and it happens a lot. So if they want to come at you and they want to see something, yeah, the campaign reports. If you look at the campaign reports, I can find you one problem, one discrepancy with each campaign report, because there's always going to be one, at least one, without them knowing that they did it. You know. And it happens. It can happen. Can they get busted for that? Yeah, they can. So it's hard. It's not easy being an official. It's not easy being elected. But that's what we chose to do. I chose to run for office. I chose to do this, and I should have known what I was getting myself into. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. You know, I didn't think it was going to be this bad to where, you know, I ended up going to prison for, 76 months. But I will tell you that it's a learning experience.
Of course, it's a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience for everybody, because people always point the fingers, and when this happens, you're in dismay of what had occurred, and I was like, what's going on? There's more to this story.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always more to the story. There's always more to every story. That's just how it is.
How did it happen with you? How did it happen? Was there an informant involved in it, or how were you led, or was it already misled, or was he planted to get Mike Montemayor? Understand my question?
Yeah, Yeah, there was an informant involved, and that's what had happened. I mean, exactly what the story said was exactly what happened. There was an undercover agent involved, and I had been dealing with him, and that's exactly. There was a lot of things I didn't agree with, but how it happened, how it worked, but it happened, and they got what they wanted, and sometimes I really do think that I needed this, because it's supposed to teach everybody else a lesson, okay? And I think that the judge that sentenced me, Judge Montemayor, sentenced me to 76 months, which is a lot, because I really pleaded guilty to $13,000 for bribery, and that's what it was. My indictment was $13,000. But it's something that everybody else should have said, you know what, let me take a step back. Let me find out what I'm doing wrong. Any other elected official should have said, let me see what he did, and let me not do that. And you know what, they haven't. So there's no excuse for them anymore to keep doing that. I don't think that they know how tough it is, you know what I mean? How how your life can change from one minute to the next. From one minute I had everything and I had the life that I wanted and I had the wife that I wanted and everything that I ever wanted in my life, to sleeping in a closet-sized room, you know what I mean, and being told off every day by different correctional officers, and sharing a toilet and having to take your own toilet paper in there, carrying toilet paper with you. It's just little things like that can really change your life, and I just think that these people should have said, you know what, if the presence of the FBI is here, or any other law enforcement agency, we need to slow down. And they haven't. That's the thing, is that they haven't. And they sit back, they can sit back right now and watch this interview and be like, man, this dude's so full of it. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I do. They can't say that I don't. Because I was an elected official, I was in office, and I did prison time. So nobody can say that I don't know what it's like, because I've been there. So for all the officials that are out there that are doing it, slow down, man, because you lose it all. That's it. I mean, you lose it. You lose it all. Everything that you've worked for all your life will be gone. And that's the hardest part. You can't take back that time that you lose with your kids, with your family, and being a father. I mean, being without my kids for 4 years, tough, man. It's really, really tough to be sitting in there wondering if they're gonna die the next day, if anything's gonna happen to them. Are they okay? But luckily, they have good mothers, my kids, and awesome. I mean, I've said it the whole time, like their mom they've been great. But these guys and girls in office need to understand that, like, stop it now. You know what I mean? But the other thing that gets to me is, what I laugh at, that I've seen, is that a lot of people want to talk about stopping corruption when they're corrupt themselves. And that's what gets me a lot. You know, where I've had conversations with people saying, oh, we're trying to stop corruption. I'm saying, really? Yeah, oh yeah, I've never been corrupt. Oh wow, that's new to me, because I've known you for a while, But I never put them out there, but I just kind of let them know, like, come on, man, really? But I wish that they would all understand, and they won't. They won't, because I had that mentality of,
Because it's norm. It's become the habit that's become normal,
I had the mentality of it won't happen to me. It's not gonna happen to me.
But you didn't go in there saying, I'm taking that money because I know it's a bribe. Was it thrown in there and you didn't know?
No, it was given to me as a campaign contribution. That's what it was given to me as, a campaign contribution. It wasn't anything else. I mean, it
wasn't here's some money, and take it, and later on we'll deal with it. That would be more of a bribe. Here's a favor. Here's money here. You take it and go there. So this was given to you as a donation.
Right. It was a contribution,
and there's a lot of donations. See, one thing that gets me, Mike, is that you have a job. Back then, how much were you getting paid? I think you guys were getting paid like 60, wasn't it?
It was about 90.
About 90 then? Because because it switched when you all were there, right? It switched like 60, went up to 80, and who knows what it is now. Mm-hmm. And fine, you do a job, you have to be paid, number one. But let's say it was 80 at that time. Some of these campaigns here in Webb County are $250,000 to get paid $80,000 or $60,000 in some instances. Mm-hmm. Okay, or some of them are 500 to $1 million, and you're like, how are you going to justify me spending $500,000 if I'm getting a $50,000 job for 4 years? That's $200,000. So I wasted the other. What's in there? That intake doesn't matter.
Right.
If it's ego, you're feeding off your ego, then something along the line, Eagle's gonna come and
Mm-hmm.
kick you in the rear, you know? And so I don't understand, you know, so that at one particular time, the city was $12,000 or $18,000,
Right.
so they were getting paid. And they'll spend $100,000, and you're like, not even 4 years, that's gonna come of age.
Right.
Okay, so maybe we have to put a cap to the donation like they do in other places. You can only spend $50,000, and everybody across the board can only spend $50,000 in the campaign, and go by your merit. What would you say with that? And eliminate all this donations.
I think that would be a little difficult.
Why?
And the reason I'm saying that is because when you put a cap on something like that, on $50,000, you're also hurting the economy of the city, and you know what I mean? Because officials are buying signs and they're buying all kinds of different things, so you're helping the economy at the same time. They're pushing, you know, themselves, they're marketing themselves, they're doing what they have to do to prove, kind of like what I did. I didn't have that much money for a campaign, but I went out there and I did it, and I walked. And for the people that know me, my ex-father-in-law, he's an elected official, and I remember a long time ago he told me, he's like, if you want to win ever, you have to walk your precinct, always. And I did, and that's one of the most important things, that I walked it like twice. It's a huge precinct, but that's how I feel. I feel that if you put a cap on it, it limits what somebody can do, you know. But at the same time, I see it fair, because you can have a guy that's a multi-millionaire and go and spend $20 million because he wants to be in office and put signs everywhere and do all this, and you have a guy that's got $2,000 and doesn't have any signs, but he's standing out there working hard and holding his own sign and doing all this other stuff. So, I mean, can I see it? Yeah, I can see both sides of it. Yeah.
You know, yeah, and it's funny because advertisement, you know, billboards, people don't understand this. The big 4x8s, they roughly cost anywhere between $30 to $40 per sign.
Mm-hmm.
The little yard signs, they cost money because they have to cut one of those big 8s
Yeah.
and cut it down to size. Bumper stickers. And here we have a cañonero system, which you have to pay somebody to go get votes out.
Right.
Other cities do not have that, you know. But here in Laredo, you have that cañonero system.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wish, and I hope the FBI is watching, start busting up those cañonero systems, because I bet you that's where you're going to find a lot of this voter fraud. But so what gets me is, yes, there's money involved in. But what I see is this: you all of a sudden, the advertisement on the newspapers and the advertisement in the billboards. Well, it was $1,500 a billboard. Now you're running for political side. No, it's $3,200. So everybody jacks up the prices. Is that fair? Yes. Is that fair for the other person? Maybe. But it's kind of like price gouging.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. You know, every advertisement company, every T-shirt company here, they know this is coming of age, and they'll jack up the prices, and everybody around during that time frame is kind of screwed off because of this price
Mhm.
gouge. Is that capitalism? Yeah, for a way, you know. Can we take our business elsewhere? Yeah, you can, but Laredo does that, you know. And I think if the problem, as you have stated, is within the donations and within the contributions, then we have to start paying attention on how to limit those contributions.
Let me tell you something that I have been thinking of for a long time is, so when I went into office, I didn't know the definition of bribery. When I was a kid, you know, like they would bribe me with, you know, candy or, you know, stuff like that. I knew what the definition of bribe was then. I think what needs to be done, what I was thinking was, so we get a Texas Ethics Commission booklet when we're elected in office, and explains everything to you. But when I got it, I was so excited that I won that I put it aside. I never paid attention to it. And what I was thinking was, there needs to be something mandatory put in for the city or any elected official office, that when they're elected, they would have to go to a mandatory course to explain to them what bribery is, what extortion is, what all kinds of laws that they are susceptible to breaking, and have them sign it, and maybe make it a 1 day or 2 day course. Have them sign
An
it.
8-hour course or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Have them sign it and say, you know what, I know what bribery is. I know what this is. So if ever they are investigated or anything like that, they have no reason to say, I didn't know. Yes, you did.
No,
But there
yeah.
hasn't been anything like that.
And it shouldn't be once you're elected, it should be when you sign, I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
become a
Oh, when you're
candidate.
running, yeah.
I'm gonna become a candidate, because you have a lot of guys here that run, and you know they're not gonna win, and they run every single time. And they collect all this donations, and you see them driving around new trucks every time.
Mhm.
And you're like, you know what I'm saying? So the donations, if the donation is there, that's what it's getting at. You
It
know?
needs to be that, but
I mean,
what I'm
exactly.
saying as an elected official,
You
the
already
tab
have
the tab would be picked up by whatever government entity you're working at. So if you're picked up, if you're elected into office by Webb County will pick up that tab and say, hey, newly elected commissioner or councilman or whatever, you have to take this mandatory course before you can even go into your office.
Or an easier one, just like the not driver's ed, what is it, when you get they get a ticket, what is it, driver's education, that course that you take?
Oh, yeah.
You go online and you put it in there, and guess what, you saw it, and at the end, you have to literally answer it,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to see those 2 hours or 3 hours that are there.
Yeah.
And you have to answer it, and you print it out, and it's answered, you sign it, and it's taken off. We should do that with the Texas Ethics Commission, should have that video. This is what bribery is. And
I
it should
think-
have, and you
Mhm.
signed up here or wherever, the elections office, and they say, okay, here's your number, you have to go over there, and within the next 2 weeks, right before the election starts, you have to put this in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
because
have a-
that'll
we have a
teach
tr-
you.
Yeah, it'll teach you.
That'll
because
show
it is
you
needed.
exactly what laws you can break for anything like any money handling, and also for the treasurers. That would also be for the treasurers too, for the campaigns.
Mhm.
But I think that's what's missing here, and I think that everybody wants to talk about transparency. Everyone always talks about transparency. I want to be transparent. How? When? Because you're not doing it. There is no transparency. You're trying to say you're transparent because you're putting on your campaign report that you got this. Of course, we know that it can be doctored. You want to be transparent, then make that course. Make it mandatory. And if you mess up, guess what? You're going straight to jail. Because you would have already signed it knowing that you broke the law. Knowing that you are breaking the law. So you sign that paperwork saying that you know what laws you can break, and you do it anyway, guess what? You deserve to go to jail. But it hasn't been done. And so I've told, ever since I was, when I was sentenced, I told the judge that I would be more than willing to help out to do that. You know what I mean? To offer that course, but make it mandatory by the state. You know what I mean?
And what did the judge say?
The judge actually thought it's a good. She thought it was a very good idea, and I still haven't changed my mind. I still think that I'd like to do that. That's a way of letting somebody know, if you're gonna run for office, you can't go to prison, dude. Quick. You know what I mean? And you need to be very, very careful with how you handle money and what you do and this and that. So, you sign this paperwork, you're saying you know that you can break the law. Now, if you break the law, you've already admitted that you've taken it. You know what it is. Do that. Somebody needs to do that. When I told the judge says, you know what, that's good. If you want to help stop corruption, that's great. Do it. But it needs to be enforced by either the state or at a county level. You know what I mean? So if...
I think the state.
Yeah, but are they going to do it? That's the question. Will they do it? Because transparency is great, but how? A lot of people talk about stopping corruption. And what have they done? They're stopping corruption because they want to talk about other people that are corrupt. And say, I'm going to stop corruption. Commissioner Montemayor took $13,000 in bribes and he did this. How's that stopping corruption? It's not. If you know you're corrupt, do something about it. You know what I mean? So, there's really nothing that's been done for anti-corruption. Nothing. And now I respect every single official in there. I do, because I know how hard it is. I know how difficult it is to be there, you know, and have that stress every single day, you know, and worry about, am I doing this right? Like, can I do this? Can I, you know? And I used to be a big chicken, believe it or not. And I used to call the county attorney's office all the time. And I used to call Mark Montemayor and Ramon and all these other dudes and ask them, like, hey, can I do this? And they're like, yes, you can. Oh, okay. But I would just make sure they'd get like the attorney general opinion and, you know, but always afraid of things like that. But I just think that something like that needs to be done. If they really want to, and they really want to be transparent, then offer that course. Offer that course to the elected officials so they'll know, you know what, we're going to have to take this course, and that's how we're going to show transparency. Because if I slip up on my campaign report, on my finance report right here, I have this other paperwork over here showing that I knew what I was doing. So I'm breaking the law. It's that simple. That's transparency. So offer it. Are they willing to do it? I hope so. That'd be good. That would be good. Offer a course. I mean, I'll offer the course. You know what I mean? I mean, take it from somebody, give some advice to the people that are just coming in from a former county commissioner and somebody that did federal time for corruption. Bring somebody like that in. Bring a federal agent that knows the law. Bring an attorney. Hire an attorney. You know what I mean? That knows the law. That can say, hey, look, all you elected officials in here, this is what you can do. This is what the law is. Da, da, da. We have a couple of guys here that have done federal time, and let them explain to you. And it's boring, right? It's boring. It's boring to hear somebody that's been in prison, you know, preach to you about, oh, my life is crappy, but...
No, it's not, because that's a good way of redeeming yourself, and it's a good way of making people understand that things can go astray very easy.
That's the thing, is that they do, but they don't.
You know, it's the argument that everybody has all the time. You know, you have the person that smokes marijuana, okay? And all of a sudden, something pops up and they say, well, marijuana is good for glaucoma and cancer, and it's been proven that it wipes out toe fungus and blah, 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 and they go on and on and on and on. Yeah, but it's illegal in the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you smoke marijuana? Well, it's legal in Colorado. Well, then move to Colorado where it's legal. I mean, if you smoke it. Here it's illegal, so if they busted you, it's still illegal.
It's still illegal.
You understand what I'm saying? There's no excuses for it. Now, when you have a lot of differences of, how can I say, a lot of differences in the term bribery. What is, what can't be a favor. You know what? And you see it all the time, you know, the people here, everybody has, it's probably a bribe, really. You know, people don't know it. All the families holding a sign that guys never got a GED or anything, and they're holding positions inside the county. Secretaries and whatever, you know, they're holding signs because, guess what? We're going to help you with all these votes because my doofus son or daughter can't spell or write, but she needs a $50,000 job. Understand what I'm saying? And all of a sudden you see them all in there, and you're like, how? You know, there's some people that. Did you ever see stuff like that?
Yeah, I as a matter of fact, I was one of them. I mean, I hired the.
You hired a doofus?
Yeah, I hired a few of them. I hired a few of them. No, they were good people. They worked hard and they wanted it, but there was a.
That's what I see in the elections.
Yeah, I hired a couple of people on there because they were self-made millionaires, and the way the county is supposed to be run is supposed to be run like a business. Okay, when people ask me why I hired those people, that's the reason that I said, because they're self-made millionaires. They have a very successful company, and if you want to run the county, you have to run it with experienced people.
Sure.
And we did, and we had something good going. I mean, I feel we had a very, very good crew. I think the ideas that we brought for Webb County and for Precinct 1 were great ideas. And I still have those ideas. I think Jesse Gonzalez he's doing an okay job. You know, I've seen that he's moving a lot. He's doing stuff. Although I don't feel that he's 100% committed to the county the way he should be. You know, because he's got his other job. But county officials are part-time positions, so he's okay. He still does his job. But yeah, I hired some people like that because, and there's nothing wrong with it though.
No,
there's nothing wrong with it. But I know what you're saying.
You know, and I'm being very facetious in the way I'm trying to explain it for people out there to wake up, because it does happen. You know, and I remember there was a couple of guys in there that you knew that they were in there for crimes and stuff, and they were shooting up places and everything else, and they're working in the county, and you're like, really? You know, but neither here nor there, to each their own. But what I'm trying to say is, you mentioned Commissioner Gonzalez. Do you think your precinct from when you left has now moved forward in a good direction?
I think it takes some time. I think it takes a little bit of time for it to start progressing. Like I said, if you're going to be in office, be in office. If you're going to take an elected official in an elected position like that, give it your 100%.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I know we have to work and stuff like that, but making $80,000, $90,000 a year as a commissioner, it's a good salary. It's a very good salary. You can live off of that. I think that there's more. I've thrown some ideas, the same ideas around, you know, towards them, and I haven't been called back, you know, by them, which is typical.
Typical.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think Cindy is doing a very good job. I think Cindy's doing an excellent job. John Galo's moving his stuff the way he's been doing. I think they're all doing a pretty good job. I just feel that they, you know, Commissioner Gonzalez, you know, needs to step on the gas a little bit more, you know, and get Precinct 1 back up, because the ideas that we had for Precinct 1 and the revenue to come up, it was amazing. You know, I mean, Commissioner Gato and I, we had all kinds of ideas for Webb County. And I'll give it to you right now, if you want. And this was an excellent idea that Commissioner Gato and I had. So, I believe it's, is it Lake Travis that has the restaurants around the lake?
Sure. One of them.
Okay.
There's several that have it now, yeah.
Okay. So, that was one of my ideas, was to do that here at the lake. So I got with some of the local business owners, the restaurant owners, and I said, hey, would you be willing to pay, I forgot what the amount was now, like, I don't know, I said something like $15,000 a month for rent, you know, if you were right on the lake. You know what I mean? Like restaurants on the lake. Of course. You know, with a balcony, a huge balcony where, you know, the nightlife was there and, you know, stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, that's awesome. And it is. It's a good thing. And it would have helped out, you know, the county tremendously. And so I had that idea. I threw it out there. John Galo came back and said, you know what, hey, let's start doing the life downs, and we can start renting horses out, and they can go from there to the restaurants, and then, you know, go do this and that, and make the park, the Casablanca, make it nice, you know, and it's county property, make it nice, you know, and that's what the idea was. Hasn't been played with since I've been gone, no. But would it be good? Yeah. I think it'd be good. You can rent jet skis, you can rent little boats, you can rent paddle boats, you can do all this other stuff, make it something fun for the kids, and bring the lake back up.
We have to. That's the only thing that we have. We say we don't have tourism.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We have a lot of commodities that are in Laredo that we can take take and embellish and make better, and people can come down and see it.
Right.
I was driving. I was. You know, I had my kids, and I want to share this experience. And I was driving by, coming back from Dallas, and trying to think of the name. It's Lorena. Then it's in Lorena. We drove off into there, and they have a little. It's like a creek. It's an arm of one of the rivers. I think one of the Brazos comes through there.
Mm-hmm.
And small little town, probably the size of Hillside. Okay, in the bay, so you want to put it that way. You know, that's how big it is. And that little creek runs in there. They have a couple of restaurants, and all the hotels were geared because people can float down half a block of water that's in there, and they were taking advantage of it as a tourist attraction. Now it's one of the watering holes in Texas, and people go there. And I'm like, something that we just stumbled on, and then I started reading about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when are we gonna go? We'll just go right now, you know. But that's stuff that we need to understand. These towns out there are taking a little gem, and they're making a necklace out of it.
Yeah.
And here we have all these necklaces, and nobody's wearing them. You know, we're not bringing them in. We're more worried about if I'm gonna put my friend into that position, if I'm gonna put my other friend into that other public position? Am I going to control all these public officials? What are you talking about? I think we have to step down and say, you know what, you're up there for a reason, and the reason is to move Webb County forward. In the cases of commissioners, and move Laredo forward.
And I think they've been doing good. I don't get me wrong. I think the city has, since I've been back, there's a few places that are pet friendly. I wish that they were, you know, more pet friendly. You know, just because there's a lot of people that, you know, have their furry family members like myself that, you know, I'd like to go somewhere, you know, and take my members with me. Dog parks, there's more events for kids, you know, for families. I like that. I like the city's ideas that they're doing that. I've seen the commissioners that are having movie nights sometimes,
Yes.
which is good. It's a good attraction. It's good, but keep it going. You know, the article that came out about the Laredo Morning Times saying that Laredo is one of the worst places, or the worst place to raise a family. Wow.
No, you know, I look at it this way, and I had that same conversation we're going to have right now with State Richard Raymond, Representative Richard Raymond, excellent individual, and also Councilman Mark Martinez.
Okay.
And I saw where the mayor came up and he fluffed up and everything else, and the mayor's an excellent individual, you know. And I understand where he's coming from, but wait a minute, somebody said that. Why are they saying that? We need to find out why they're saying it for us to correct that problem and make us better. Because there's a reason why it's there. And I can't see it in education. We have excellent school districts and excellent educators. So where is that coming from? What's going on? Is it the crime? Do we have more youth that are involved in crime that nobody's talking about? Where was that taken? Was it because you can't fly a kite somewhere? I doubt it was a flying the kite and looking at butterflies kind of thing and looking at. I think that's fine, but why? I want to see the why of that. What happened?
And have they come up with the why?
No, nobody's said a why. You know, so you're like, why?
It's all.
You know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
Why are we the worst one? I mean, do we have do we have gangs that we don't know about that nobody's telling us about? Do we have a drug problem, an opiate problem? We do, and people are not looking at it. We do have a drug problem. Do we have crime spilling in from Mexico? Yes, we do. What is it for us to correct it?
And the thing is raising children in Laredo is not.
No,
it's
you
not,
know that.
I mean, I had a good life. I had a good childhood. You know what I mean? My kids, when we do things, we do the weirdest, craziest things.
Sure,
I mean, we can, but we have fun doing it. And it doesn't matter what we do, we have fun doing it. So it's up to the parents, it's up to the people actually doing it. But
I think the family units in Laredo have not changed. You know, we still have grandmothers in the houses, we still have great aunts, we have uncles and everybody else getting together on the weekends. You go over to, that is still there. Those units are there.
right.
You don't see that in other cities. You do not see that. So it's not that. What was it that named us that? I want to find out what it was. And nobody has come up with it. Everybody got fluffed up and blah, blah, blah. I want to find out what it was for us to correct it. Is it drugs? Gangs? Do we have a youth crime rate that we don't know about? What is it?
I mean, well, we've lived here all our lives and we haven't seen anything.
No.
Now, along with the growth of a city like Laredo comes crime, comes everything else. I mean, you can't expect it to be like one homicide, a year. I mean, things happen, and it's expected, you know what I mean? But to make a statement.
But that statement
Yeah.
arises. Now, why? It's just like what you said, I came out there, I wanna teach a class, I wanna make people, public officials, and those that are gonna be candidates, this is what happened, let's wake up. You're saying that.
Mm-hmm.
A wrong occurred, and you wanna turn that into a good for everybody
Right.
else, and that is honorable. Here, the wrong occurred how? What's the wrong that's making us labeling us the worst city race
worst
family?
family.
What is the wrong? What is going on there? Was it just the maliciousness of the Laredo Morning Times? Or was it something in there? And I'm not saying that the Laredo Morning Times is malicious. Was it done maliciously? Or is there something that's backing this up? Where is it at? Is it drugs? Is it vandalization that we don't know about? Because there's a lot of stuff in Laredo that is swept under the rugs and people think, oh, honky-dory, kumbaya, Aguna Matata, and there's a whole lot of stuff underneath going on, and you well know that.
Or could it be a publicity stunt? Could it be for ratings? Could it be for more people to buy the paper? Could it be something like that?
No, I don't buy the paper. I mean, I haven't bought the paper
We don't-
for a long time,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of like,
I just go based on everybody's Facebook and whatever they post, I'm reading. Oh, wow.
and
We don't know.
And I'll call her a colleague. Gordiloca says more news than they do. So and
That's
I'm,
true, yeah.
And I'm proud of her what she's doing.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
She's good people, and hey, thumbs up, Gordiloca.
Awesome.
But what I'm saying is, I go to my mom's house and I go, do you have the paper? Oh yeah, it's right there. She has 2 parrots, and that's what they the paper. And I'm like, so people, do they really read it, or are they just fluffing up for somebody else?
Well, I think there's a few people that still read it. I think that the mayor was in his right to be as upset as he was, because he's our leader, and he's I don't know. It took me by surprise when I was one of them that read it, and I was like, what?
I saw the outcome in Facebook of everybody, that. Then I posted a post that was put up there of Archie Bunker.
Oh yeah, I did. I think I did see that. Yeah.
And it said worst family, worst this and worst that, and it said something like, "Oh no, way to go, Democrats! One step closer to being Detroit."
Oh, that was you, right?
And I shared that one because I thought it was hilarious because
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, you take a bad and make it good. You know what I'm saying? People are always going to be talking about you.
Always.
And the Laredo's now a face of the map. #1 port. We're in the media left and right. Every other day we're in the media because of what's going on with the border. So please, Laredo's in the face of the United States, and they're gonna talk good or talk bad. They're talking about you.
Yeah.
And I understand the mayor where he's coming from because he's very passionate about Laredo and he sees it in a different form. And I would have just told the Laredo Morning Times, well, you know what? All those advertisements that you got, we just canceled your order for the next 2 years.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
You understand what I'm saying? I would have called them up and no more advertising for all these flying kites in our parks anymore. We'll use Facebook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what that teach them a lesson. But what happens? They always bully everybody around. I've seen them bully politicians. They go in there and they say, you all have to advertise here, you have to advertise there, and I'm the one that dictates who we're going to pick.
And if you don't buy...
And if you don't buy, you know that we're not going to give you. So the more you buy, the more you get.
Depends on how your stories will be written.
Yeah. So please, you know.
Yeah. That's how it is. And like I said, the mayor is. That guy's a good guy.
No, he's a good guy.
I've always liked him. I think he is such a good leader. You know what I mean? This man is just. He is a perfect example of not being corrupt. I think like you said, he's passionate. He loves his city. He loves his job. He does it well. He's awesome. He's a good guy. But they need to give Laredo a chance, man. I mean, they really do. Who wrote that article anyway? I mean, do you remember who wrote it?
It's really, to me, it's kind of.
Well, who approved it anyway? I mean,
No, to me, we know who approved it, but to me, it's kind of like, really? Okay, let's find out what we did wrong. Thank you. But if you want to continue being that way, and if I controlled the advertising budget, I'm sorry, I just withdrew all the advertisement from.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody that has businesses there with the Laredo Morning Times should send a letter saying, you know what, I raised my family in Laredo. And guess what? We're pulling out all our advertisements, and you can shove that contract nowhere.
Where would that be?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But nobody's standing up. Everybody, stand up. Go over there. You want to protest? Protest that.
You can't protest.
that.
You can't.
If you're going to protest, if you're going to protest what they did to the city because of that front page, because it's big, it's about that big. I saw it on Facebook. I didn't see it on the paper. I saw it on Facebook. Everybody was, and I was like, okay. And then I saw Archie Bunker later on. And I showed him, and I was like, okay, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I rather laugh. Okay.
Yeah. Laugh about it.
Laugh about it. Let's move on forward. Let's find out what the reasoning of that poll is.
Mm-hmm.
I would have called up those people and said, tell me the poll, the questions you all asked, or where you're getting this from.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing I would have done. The second thing I would have done was, you know what, Laredo Morning Times, we withdraw our advertisement for the next 2 years, the city of Laredo. And all the businesses that are advertising in the Laredo Morning Times that were offended by that title, we'll call them up and say, you know what, we're withdrawing from advertisement because of this article that you all put. Oh, it's freedom of speech. Well, then I have freedom of speech as well. And this is the way I'm protesting.
Right.
You just insulted my city.
Mm-hmm.
And you withdraw. But nobody's going to do that. And there's still going to be advertisement in the city in the Laredo Morning Times, including the city of Laredo. So,
Well, they're the only paper.
I'll teach them a lesson. Understand? Plain and
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
You know, no, if you have to stand up for the wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? If they feel so passionate about it, pull out. But they're not going to do it.
Right.
Now, back to teaching lessons, because that would have been a lesson that somebody would
Mm-hmm.
do. And I guarantee you, if they would have said that, so the newspaper, any newspaper in Washington or whatever would say a massive title like that against America or something to the effect of American government, I'm pretty sure that our good President Trump was doing an excellent job, would say, you know what, let's withdraw from advertising from all these companies.
Mm-hmm.
Which he did in many other ways, and now they're scrambling about trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
You have to be that way,
You have to.
because we spent, the city of Laredo, we spent thousands in the Laredo Morning Times, thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands, in advertising.
Yeah, to
And
get slapped in the face like
for
that.
them to come over here, you know what? But lessons need to be learned,
Right.
and a lesson that was learned by you would be what? With everything that occurred, what is the main thing that you can say to everybody?
I learned a lot. I had a big drinking problem. I drank a lot. I was an alcoholic when I was in office. Even before I was in office, I used to drink a lot, and that affected me too. I don't drink. I had a glass of wine yesterday, and but I don't drink anymore, and I'm a runner. I like to run now, so I've learned so much that my family is precious. I've learned who my friends are, who my real friends are. I've learned not to be so arrogant, you know, not to be the way that I was, you know, not to be so quick to act, to be grateful for the small things that I have. And like I said, it's really weird. And when people watch this, they're gonna say, yeah, whatever. It's like that, man. Being in that place, and any felon in here, in this town or anywhere, can tell you the same thing. It's a traumatizing event, you know. But I will say this though. Because of my past and who I was back then, because of my alcohol problems or addictions or whatever, it doesn't define who I am now. You know, and I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people, and I've surprised a lot of people with the way that I am now. You know, with how I've come out and I've changed certain things in my life, but a lot of people don't know me. The only thing that they know about me is this is Commissioner Mike Montemayor that was thrown in prison. He's a dirtbag. He's a scumbag. He's a piece of crap. He went to prison and he did this, and don't talk to him. You know, and I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it's fair. I think that I messed up and I've admitted it, and I've moved on from it, and I'm not doing anything else but trying to help. I'm not trying to do anything else, but people that want to be so quick to judge kind of freaks me out. It kind of scares me, you know? Because it's like, why would you do that? I've never judged, never, ever did I judge anybody that was, even before I went to prison, did I ever judge anybody that had gone to prison or state or anything like that. And I get that a lot. You know, that because I did this wrong, I did it. So I ignore them. You know, and there's people that still, you know, but there's people that are going to love me, there's people that are going to hate me. And that's life. If you love me, great, I'm going to love you back. But if you don't, then stay away from me. You know? And I'm on Facebook on and off, you know, because, you know, there's times that it's just, you know, it gets like that, you know, and it's kind of stressful sometimes. And because people want to judge right away, that's what they want to do. Like,
You know, when you read the comments and I see every other comment that comes out on certain journal and blogs about Laredo and Webb County, everybody's consensus is that all our politicians are corrupt. They don't come out of that work. And I look at that and I go like, you know, I know all of them personally, and some of us are good friends. Known you since you were 16, 15 years old. You used to come in here, you know, before you went to the Navy,
mm-hmm.
and when you came back, and at that time I was still in Dallas, and when I moved back, you were one of the first ones that came in, and I'm glad you're back. And so life takes us in different roads, you know, but I was very thrilled and happy to see a student that came out of here go and become a public official, that we have others. You know, Algid is one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you should bring him here.
Mm-hmm.
Back when. And it's, to me, it was kind of a surprise when this occurred. I go, what occurred? Why? And we've talked extensively before this, and we're going to continue afterward. And the main thing that I can say is, I think, like you're saying, is you're led into a bribe. You're misled into that. I don't think any one of you is going to say, I'm going to take that. I know it's coming. Bring it over here and let's get it done. I think misleading I think somebody else bringing it around the corner and sticking it in there, here's a donation from so-and-so, and then all of a sudden, here the FBI is knocking on your door. I don't think Mike said, give me the money, open it in my hand, and put it in my pocket. Understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, there's everybody's to blame. And I also blame the FBI. Because the FBI, even though we have great agents,
Mm-hmm.
look at that fiasco that's going on with our president for the last almost 3 years. They've lost their dignity. And they need to recover it. And we have great agents on the outside, and I've had great students that were FBI agents and good friends. And I tell them the same thing. We cannot lose our dignity. We messed up, we fell down, we have to stand up and start moving up again.
Right.
And that occurred with you, now you're standing up and you're trying to correct the wrongs. And I think you have a great fight in front of you by getting this class going forward and a law passed to make sure that all candidates for a public official position don't get misled.
You see, and here's the good thing with that is that it's good for the official and it's good for the constituents. Okay, so it shows for that class that we're discussing, it shows the constituents that you have nothing to hide, that you're willing to take the blame later on if you do something wrong. You have nothing to hide. So the constituents will say, well, you know what? Commissioner Montemayor took this class and he did this, and he knows that if he messes up, straight to jail, because he took it. He knows. There's no other excuse. There's no nothing. He knows. And so it makes the constituents feel a lot, more at ease, or their term transparency that they use a lot. But then it also shows from the elected official side, it shows I have nothing to hide. That is what everybody wants. So when an official comes in there and takes that course and says, I don't have anything to hide, and if I take any bribes and somebody cashes me a bribe, I've signed this, I've taken this course, I'll go straight to jail. If you have an elected official that says, I'm gonna take the class, guess what? What's everyone gonna think? You don't wanna take it because you're gonna take some money.
But then you can't be a candidate.
You can.
No, I think it should be mandated that every candidate that's going to become a public official, any candidate, I don't care if it's school board or
Yeah, anything else.
if your city elects a dog catcher, you better have that in there, okay?
Yeah. And Richard would be the good one. Richard Raymond would be the good one to talk to you about that.
And I think he's an excellent individual, because he said one thing, Paul, I was the only Democrat that stood up against no state income tax. The only one. And I was like, and
Yeah, Richard's he's a good guy too.
no, he's a A+. Right?
Yeah.
Showed a lot.
Oh yeah.
Showed a lot. Anything else would you like to say?
No, I just I've apologized already to the public, so I don't have to keep apologizing. But all I wanted to say was just, this town is growing, it's moving fast, and there's a lot of good going on, a lot. And I just think that the officials are having a very difficult time too. The ones that are just going into office are getting used to it. The ones that have been there for a while already know how it works. But it's stressful. So give them a shot. Let them try what they have to try. So because there could be an elected official in there that really can change everything and do something good for all of us. But we have to give them a chance. If we don't ever give them a chance, we'll never know. And actually, no, I'm not even afraid to say this. President Trump, nobody wanted to give him a chance. I was one of them. But you know what? I like him. I like his ideas. He's more of an independent. I love that about him because that's exactly how I was too. But you have to give him a chance to do what he's gonna do. And people are gonna get mad at me and say, well, I can't even vote, so don't even worry about it. So, you know what I mean? So anybody could get mad at me or whatever, but he's doing what he has to do. And he's doing what nobody has ever done. And this is what this place needs. Now, if anybody wants to look back at when I was in Commissioner's Court, go look at what I used to do and how I was, because I was just like Trump was. But they couldn't take it. There was a lot of people that didn't like that. And now we have a president that does that. And he's good. But you have to give him a chance. It's not just a one-term thing, you know, especially not in that office.
No, not anymore.
No. And that's what I'm saying. It's just, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to help this community, and if it's something that they'd like to see happen, then I'm willing to push for it. You know, if the judge, the county judge, Tijanina, or any commissioner want to meet with me so they can, you know, pick my brain a little bit about that, I'd be more than glad to help them out, so that way they can push it with the state legislature and make it, you know, make it mandatory for them, which will slow down the corruption. And if you really think about it, it will slow it down a lot. And so I hope that can happen, and that would be a huge step for the officials and for the constituents, and to kind of, you know, remind the official all the time, you take money, you're done. You know. Other than that, I love my city, I love my county, I love everything about it. I'm glad to be home, and
We're glad to have you.
glad to see you. Thank you very much.
And we'll keep on moving forward. And folks, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And the biggest lesson is, not everything that you hear is what it is.
Right.
So pay attention. Let's not pass judgment too quickly. Let's look at all the big picture and understand that we elect our public officials. So whose fault is it when we say we have somebody that's corrupt? Because you voted them in. All right? Until next time, peace.